This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Buying a car shouldn't eat up your week. That's why Carvana made it convenient. Car buying that fits around your life, not the other way around. You can get pre-qualified for an auto loan in just a couple of minutes and browse thousands of quality car options, all within your terms, all online, all on your schedule. Turn car buying into a few clicks and not a full week's endeavor. Finance and buy your car at your convenience on Carvana. Financing subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply.
This episode is brought to you by Espolón Tequila. Slow, sticky, snoozy. They call these the dog days of summer. But Espolón? They don't do boring. Welcome to the Marg Days. Espolón Tequila. 100% blue Weber agave, born to shake up your summer. Just add lime, agave, and a little attitude. Visit espolontequila.com. Espolón Tequila, 40% alcohol, volume 80 proof. Copyright 2025 Campari America, New York, New York. Drink responsibly.
Hellmann's believes they can turn any mayo hater into a lover. So, if you know someone who thinks mayo equals bland, show their taste buds the truth and challenge them to try Hellmann's flavored mayo. With irresistible flavors like Hellmann's spicy mayo, garlic aioli, chipotle, and Italian herb, they'll be eating their words. Challenge haters to try Hellmann's flavored mayo and get them to eat their words. Learn more at hellmanns.com/eatyourwords.
We're back with another episode of Horror Movie Night, and this week we're talking about 1990s Flatliners, a movie that I'm pretty confident was a first watch for myself and Kyle. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Which is hilarious because you've worked with, Filardi before.
Yeah.
And, it's like, oh, yeah, I love your material. I love your work. I have never seen Flatliners.
I've never seen Flatliners, Peter. Sorry.
I did write my very first note that I wrote down was, always heard about this movie, never saw it until today, had no clue how stacked this cast is.
Insane cast.
I forget how stacked the cast is. I maybe this is like my fifth time watching it, and but I haven't watched it in like the last 15 years, so I had completely forgotten.
Movies like this, like with an ensemble cast, just are something that I feel doesn't happen anymore. Like this,
it's not written as an ensemble cast though.
It's not.
It's just a bunch of dudes and Julia Roberts, but like it's all people that were just on the cusp of being like super fucking famous.
Yeah, like I was thinking about that through the context of Kevin Bacon arguably is probably the most famous, him and Keith Sutherland, because they're like coming off of the 80s.
Yes, but they were still like
this was at least shot before Pretty Woman blew up.
It was shot right after, if I remember correctly, and it came out the same year. They both are 1990 movies.
Yeah,
I believe
that's what I mean.
Pretty Woman
so,
literally came out either right before or right after this movie.
Yeah, so it's like Julia Roberts was not like this huge get at that point.
No. I mean, and let's be honest, Oliver Platt has never been a big get, but we love him so much.
But he's a delight anytime you see him, whether it's Lake Placid or The Bear. I always have a smile on my face when I see Oliver Platt.
I was fine with William Baldwin this whole time too.
It's the most honestly, William Baldwin's ever been. It's the most.
Why are we calling him by his government name? He's Billy Baldwin forever.
I'm just saying that's what it came up as his credit on the on the credits.
He's an actor.
Yeah, and it's super super funny that one of the things that I saw on the trivia on IMDb, because there's like 60 pieces of trivia and a lot of them were really dumb, but one of them was kind of funny. It was like, this is the second film that William Baldwin was cast in where his character videotapes women having sex or something like that. And
what
the movie was
a
Sliver.
Thing to be your calling card as an actor.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, man, thank.
What was the other one? The other one was Sliver, you said? Oh,
yeah.
Sliver, yeah. That's crazy.
Which I've never seen because I don't do erotic thrillers.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's Ira Levin though. That's written by Ira Levin, or the book is. Yeah, I don't remember. And it's like a kind of like a pretty big pretty big director too.
Is it supernatural?
It might be.
Oh my God! Someone look it up. I'm too busy telling you guys what happens in this movie.
I'll give you a little taste of. I'll give you a little sliver.
Ooh.
Speaking of little taste as well.
Hell yeah!
It's 100 degrees in my basement. So
dude, I can believe it. Quick. It is so goddamn humid on the East Coast right now.
Yeah, it's gnarly. I'm gonna cool off with Bright Wave West Coast style IPA because what's the opposite of a flatline? A bright wave.
And guys, that's a terrible idea. What time?
Woo! That orange cat. Hell yeah!
Love.
Very nice.
Love to see it.
And that's a really good beer. I mean, it's always I buy the beers for this or make the drinks for this literally for the laugh and the vibe. So it's always a nice surprise when a beer that I've never had before doesn't suck.
It's got to happen once in a while. Before you dive into the plot thing, I want to talk a little bit, and I'm curious Kyle's perspective on this too as the first timers here watching this, because I feel like this is one of those movies where when I mention that I haven't seen this, people are kind of shocked,
offended even.
Yeah, I really do think that two of the big compliments that I gave right out the gate on this one was we are like about 11 minutes into this movie, like the entire concept is already like quickly and efficiently laid out on like this is the conceit, this is what these people are doing. And I think that it's impressive. It's a pretty impressive film that is clearly a big budget studio film. This isn't like a small indie film by any stretch of the imagination. Has a really is a small cast with pretty limited locations, all things considered, and is like, especially in the first hour, insanely compelling. Like the first like half of this movie where they're just in this laboratory basement, like causing each other to flatline and reviving them to see what happens. Because I had no clue what the rest of this movie was about, I'm just like, face on the hand, like really kind of wondering where the next it is a really well crafted script, I must say. Kyle, I'm curious, obviously, your pseudo boss wrote this, but taking that off the table, you can be honest. I without mentioning a potential double feature, I think that movies that tackle this medical science spiritual like sort of opposites thing that happens sometimes, this butting of heads that happens, can be a little too lofty, and you're right. I mean, the setup for this gets us right in easy, and then we have 5 characters that are either going to flatline or not going to flatline, and they keep upping the ante. It's like, oh my God, if you could have told me that you could have built a staircase really simply, I would be building stairs. I mean, like the way that you can just like continue to elevate this is crazy. And it's not overly complicated. So I appreciate that. I do think that like at times, I mean, it's almost a 2-hour movie. So I think sometimes it felt a little repetitive, or like maybe I was catching what the next thing was before we had to like flatline another person, or before another flashback, or whatever this sort of like reality death veil is. There's a couple too many like veil reveals. But also it's like, I mean, but I think it's also of the time, and it's like that's there's not many of these types of things going on, this really cool sort of down to earth sci-fi thing that's happening. And then years later into the mid to late 90s, we're going to get some really huge sci-fi like epics, right? So I really enjoyed my watch. It's a little late. It's a little bit later for me. So like if I bring up not seeing Flatliners or even the movie, like some people have no idea what I'm talking about. Joel Schumacher directs, but he's known for a handful more movies than this. But it does, especially with his work with Kiefer Sutherland, like, it just like screams Schumacher and Lost Boys. Like I just see so much of that in this, and it's really fun, especially some of the lighting stuff. Like it's a nice nod or a nice elevation from the horror in Schumacher's past.
Yeah, it's also really funny. Like I believe that I read that Joel Schumacher cast Kiefer Sutherland in 5 movies.
Really?
Yeah, and as the lead in 5 movies, and so obviously it was Lost Boys, then Flatliners, and then 3 more, and I didn't write them down. But it just, I mean, and in 1990, I feel like Joel Schumacher was a big enough name that, you know, this kind of, I can't say that this didn't have a positive effect on all of these people's careers, you know, like all the actors' careers. Yeah. And I know I made a little joke about how it was like not really an ensemble cast because it's not written that way. Yeah. I mean, I think that it kind of toes the line, so you're not wrong, but it really is done in such a way that it's like everybody gets to breathe, you know. I mean, Oliver Platt really is the only one that doesn't, since he doesn't flatline, he doesn't get like that part of the story, but all the other ones do, and I think that you kind of have him as the straight man, which was interesting.
Like Oliver Platt is kind of your comic relief through moments in this movie. The part that made me laugh uncontrollably is fairly early in the movie where he's the one documenting everything and they're sharing their experiences, and he's just like adding commentary to every single thing that every person has to say, where they'll just be like, you know, I went under for 3 minutes. He's like, didn't think you could do it, but they did it in 3 minutes. Like, he's just like this running side commentary is so funny in that.
He's
scene.
like a weird ad-libber at that moment.
Yeah,
he's like throwing in. He's great. The one that I laughed the most when we do sort of reveal what his sin would have been if he did flatline, and it was something about like stealing a sandwich. And then maybe a girl running around with a sandwich after him. I was like, that is so charming. There's a little bit of levity to this, which is nice. It doesn't feel straight horror, but a lot of the movies that I was thinking about while watching this aren't. But I think that they fit in this category quite easily.
I think that any other person in 1990 would have had almost zero levity in the movie, right? Like it would have just been a straight thriller and nothing else. And like this, it kind of dabbles a little bit into comedy because that's like what Schumacher's good at, and it dabbles a little bit into horror because like that's one of the things he likes, you know what I mean? Like it is like this nice hodgepodge of like a couple different genres while still being primarily a thriller. I feel like
I wouldn't call this a horror movie.
Yeah, the fact that there's literally zero body count.
Well, no. There's Billy Mahoney.
People die all the time, dude.
That's true. But you know what I mean? Of our main characters, like our 5 main characters are fine.
None of them actually die. Yeah, they all get their happy ending. Yeah, and you know, me picking it and me also saying this isn't a horror movie. I really think that I only picked it because you guys hadn't seen it. It was mind-blowing
you had
to
mentioned
me.
2 or 3 options, and we were like, "Oh, I've never seen that." And you were like, "None of you have seen this?"
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I don't know if I mean, I guess I would have at some point, mainly because I know Peter. But even if without that fact, no, dude, I don't even think I would. Did anybody see the remake?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I have no interest. I do know that Kiefer Sutherland has a part in it, and he originally had said, "Oh yeah, that's my character." You know, that as an adult who's kind of like, it's a direct sequel to the original Flatliners, and then he had a different name in the film, and people were, I guess they were upset. And then there was either a post-credit scene or maybe like a deleted scene that went into like the DVD or Blu or whatever, where it showed that he was the same character. He just had changed his name and was living anonymously. And I'm like, that's just so fucking dumb.
It's so dumb. What a waste of time and money to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
and also, like,
what?
How is his character so fucking rich? Like, he has the most dope ass crib of anybody I've ever seen in a medical, like, semi-supernatural medical thriller. He's got like that
still a student.
Yeah, and he still is. He's a doctoral student, and he's got like this amazing apartment. They all have amazing apartments. It's fucked up. But he's got like this beautiful like low lighting that along the baseboards, and everything's like painted white and crown molding, and goddamn, dude. I mean, I could live in that apartment.
Not to mention he renovates this weird church to be a medical facility. Like he's got a beautiful touch.
Is he? I think they're squatting. He's not doing anything himself, right?
No, he's got to be. Like,
I don't quite understand. I've never understood or given enough of a shit to try and like understand why that is the place that they picked. And I'm guessing
they don't even give you time to. They just throw you in.
Runs
like
right
just
into
to
it,
just.
That's what I mean,
Matt
though.
said,
but I love that they throw you.
You're just like here.
I love that they just toss you in the deep end with this.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's what makes it work, because I would not enjoy I think that the pacing of this is actually quite nice for an hour and 45 minutes or whatever. I mean, it's a long movie. I find myself each time being like, there's a lot happening, and it never feels like my only gripe, and it has nothing to do with the pacing as much as just the fact that it feels a little padded, and that they keep on having the same argument, which is like, oh, you shouldn't be going under. Oh, you shouldn't be going under for longer. Oh, that, blah, blah. Like, why did you lie to us about your Kiefer Sutherland's character? Why did you lie to us about your reasoning for doing this? And it just feels like they could have truncated a little bit of that, and it would have been just fine. We didn't need all that.
Yeah. I did I totally. I didn't think it didn't take me out of it by any means.
No,
but it was just like, oh, there's another section of this, another section of this,
and we didn't need it.
We didn't. I don't think we needed it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a cool concept, but it also, I feel like this movie is so of its time.
Yeah.
Because it really it has a lot to do with two things, in my opinion. One, the tone, which is quite uplifting. Well, I mean, I guess the answer is the tone. And the tone comes from the plot, and then it also comes from the orchestral choices. I feel like the stingers are very, I mean, like in the flashbacks and in the the semi-supernatural areas of the film, the stingers are right. It's like horror, it's horror adjacent. I think this movie still lives in like a horror adjacent place.
Oh, I mean, someone described it as a horror movie where the ghosts are haunting your body. You know what I mean? Like, and that's like a really interesting way to explain it, because it does have that element.
Yeah, it bothers me. Really, what bothers me more than anything else is that they can do these things where they are making you hallucinate more or less. And I love that, but I don't love the fact that Billy Mahoney is not actually a corporeal entity. This never bothered me until this watch. So, because it would make a lot more sense if Kiefer Sutherland's character is getting the shit beat out of him by an angry ghost.
Yeah.
But he's actually beating the shit out of himself. Yeah. At least that's what's implied when Kevin Bacon's character saves him from the pickaxe that he's holding over his own face in the back of Kevin Bacon's van or truck or whatever. So just seems a little odd to me that they didn't go a little harder into the supernatural aspect of it. But I think that that's also, again, of its time. It's trying to be more of a psychological, philosophical discussion instead of they've passed the veil and they brought something back. That would make it more of a horror movie, less of a pseudo-religious philosophical discussion.
You could, however, argue to a certain extent that it's not that much different than something that's happening even in modern times with, say, Smile. You know what I mean? Like, theoretically in Smile, the ghost or the entity never touches you, but you feel compelled to do something to yourself under its control. So, like, you could argue that the ghosts...
So it's a possession.
That it's almost a little bit more possession / hallucination.
Yeah.
But we're almost 20 minutes in. Scott, do you even feel a need to do the rundown? Do you still want to do the rundown?
Oh yeah, let me do a quick rundown.
Okay.
Yeah, I still want to do a quick rundown just because for the fact that both of you are well past the age when you should have seen this. I'm going to assume that some listeners have not seen Flatliners or haven't watched Flatliners in a long time. So Flatliners is the movie about a man who wants to die, but he never finds the right day in which to do it. This is Kiefer Sutherland's character. And he, I actually didn't, Nelson Wright. So we have this banger all-star cast of Kiefer Sutherland as Nelson Wright, a brilliant but possibly insane medical student at getting a doctorate, and then some of the other, doctorate students that he has wrangled into this near-death experience study that he's doing that is very unethical and absolutely not approved by a medical board, including Julia Roberts, Billy Baldwin, Kevin Bacon, and Oliver Platt. Those are the main characters. And so we have Kiefer Sutherland, Nelson, goes under first. And I believe he goes under on Devil's Night, if I'm not... because this all really happens over the course of like 4 days, which is kind of cool.
That's great.
4, maybe 5 days. So they're in Chicago. They're going to some medical school in Chicago, and they kill Nelson. Nelson is under for 3.5 minutes, I believe, and he... or 2 minutes, whatever it is. I didn't write down the timestamps, but he's dead for a while, a little bit, and then they bring him back, and he is unable to quite put into words the experience that he experienced. And it seems all well and good until he begins to have flashbacks from what you find out is a time when he was bullying. He bullied a kid at his school to death. The other people in the study go under as well. They flatline and bring back their own ghosts. So Kevin Bacon's character brings back a girl that he bullied mercilessly in elementary school, and he sees her on the L as he's going around Chicago, and she never touches him, but he is starting to piece together that something has come back with them. Julia Roberts really, really wants to go under because she believes that she wants to believe that her dad, who committed suicide when she was 6 years old, I'd say 6 or 7, is in a better place and is not in hell, basically. Before she can go under, Kevin Bacon goes under, and Billy Baldwin goes under, and then Julia Roberts gets to go under. Billy Baldwin is kind of a sex addict who has been secretly videotaping women that he's having one-night stands with and keeping this video library of women, which is very, very, very
it's already inappropriate,
actually criminal.
It's criminal, it's inappropriate, and then on top of all of this, he's doing these things while engaged to a different woman.
To Hope Davis.
So on top of all of the other fucked up criminal stuff, he's also unfaithful to the person he's supposed to be faithful with
fiance.
While doing this. Yeah.
His stuff is the most. I think his reality breaks are sort of the most like visually interesting.
Oh, absolutely,
Besides
Julia because it's only
Julia
on
Roberts
televisions, and then it's then going up to his loft. Great.
Yeah.
Good shit.
And then Julia Roberts one is really interesting because there's so many light changes that I think are really interesting that feel very Lost Boys.
The Red Room kind of stuff.
Yeah. Love that. Which I think is so cool. Like this movie is so able to move in and out of what I'll say are dream sequences. They are not dreams necessarily, but they are this breaks in realities, hallucinations, right? But they get to move so seamlessly in the story that I really loved that. There's not a lot of movies that do that well, and I feel like this was really cool in that way.
Yeah, and when Rachel, so Julia Roberts, when she finally, so as they go forward with their reanimations, their resurrections, they realize that so Kevin Bacon calls up he finds the girl from elementary school that he taunted mercilessly. He goes and he apologizes to her in person, and she accepts his apology and forgives him. That frees him from his quote-unquote haunting, which, great, awesome. Kind of falls flat 35 years later to have a black woman saying it's okay that you treated me so shitty to a white man who's now like a medical student, and you know, it's rough. Like, this movie really is dated in that way, and also I don't really like how it lets everybody off the hook. But we'll get there. You know, but so in any case, they kind of, like, Kevin Bacon's character cracks the code, and so before they can do that, Billy Baldwin's fiance comes to visit him. She finds the tapes. She breaks up with him, and he's despondent. But at the same time, good for her.
I would argue that's even more fucked up than the Kevin Bacon one. That the way for Billy Baldwin to be absolved from the ghost is just being caught. Like, he doesn't even like confess
I think that it's
to
absolution
anything.
regardless.
He just gets caught, and then it's like, all right, ghost is gone.
Bye.
I think it's because what Filardi, but also Joel Schumacher in like a more specific way, we're really going for with this is that I think that they were trying to say that going beyond the veil of death and coming back doesn't really curse you with ghosts. It just shows you the worst shit you ever did. Or what you believe you ever did, and you have to forgive yourself. Which, okay, so that even makes Kevin Bacon's arc worse, because he's like, oh, the black girl who I taunted mercilessly forgave me, so everything's peachy keen. I'm no longer cursed. But you know, and then Billy Baldwin's is like, well, I lost the thing that matters to me because I was a shitty fiance and a bad misogynistic man. I'm absolved. Like, the worst thing that I did, the worst thing could happen in reaction. And then that flows forward into Rachel, so Julia Roberts. She has an extended scene where it is discovered that her dad committed suicide because when he came back from the war, which I'm guessing is Vietnam, he is addicted to heroin, and she found him shooting up and killed himself. And so he's asking for absolution, which is really just her asking for absolution from her father, for herself, if you think about it as a totally non-supernatural film, which that really kind of takes the piss out of how much I used to like the whole point of this movie.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be more supernatural, but that's also me in my 40s, blah, blah, whatever. I really gotta say, though, I loved how when Rachel embraces her dad and there's that catharsis, the walls that were so close together in that bathroom where he was shooting up, you can see them roll out, and it expands the bathroom, and it no longer feels so claustrophobic. Really, really nice, subtle piece of effect there.
Yeah, really good. There's a lot of I can see why might be a little bummed that it's not as supernatural. And there are other movies that have some more of that this does not. Really well pieced together flick. And then the ending is that it's the spirit haunting Nelson, so Kiefer Sutherland, which is the one, and he's the one who has the most
the ability to hurt
battle of forgiving himself or forgiving the situation.
And because he killed a kid,
because he killed a kid as a kid, and he's flatline. He's the first to flatline, so he's also sort of obsessed with the process of this and everybody else's stories and dealings, and he's just sort of like pushing aside the dealing with the thing that's haunting him most in order to try to figure more of this out. So he has that is a full like horror moment. Like, it feels the way his set piece for bullying this kid in the woods is pretty good. It's pretty freaky. It feels very Lost Boys to me.
Yes. Well, I think that it's also because that the way that they set that soundstage up could be The Woman in White. It could be Watcher in the Woods. It could be it's got all these classic tropes with the dead tree branches and the white misty background. And
real good.
It's great. I could have done without seeing Kiefer Sutherland's nipples quite so much in this movie, but it's a Joel Schumacher flick. I'm okay with it. I was kind of expecting it.
Let me ask you guys a quick question. Kiefer Sutherland's character. Are we of the feeling that he probably should have died at the end of this? I mean, he is... a lot of these other characters are haunted by a ghost and they care. He has such... I feel like he has all of the makings of a character who dies at the end of the movie because they can't see past their own desire for fame. I'm kind of bothered by the fact that he lives. But where would
the catharsis for that be? Yeah. That's I really think that what maybe Peter, I don't know what Peter's original screenplay looked like for this, but I know that when we discussed The Craft with him, he talked about movies really are a group effort. And I think that what he was saying in a really generous way, more generous than I probably would, is that executive producers and directors get to have a lot of leeway and say in the
You're thinking this was a we can't fucking kill the biggest name in this movie at the end of it? Yeah.
Yes. I think Joel Schumacher was not my beautiful blonde baby boy Kiefer Sutherland,
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. I'll try to pick his brain a little bit to see if he has any more
that might just be an offline conversation that never comes onto the show because I don't want. And let me be clear, I'm putting those words out there as me. I'm not putting those words out there as Peter because he's been in the business for long enough. He knows not to shit where he eats. But I have never made money from my art, and so I've never had the privilege of not shitting where I eat.
Yeah, no, but you're right.
I don't really love that he survives. I don't.
He's the only character that should have died.
I would have loved
100%.
Well, the stakes are so low, The stakes are so low because no one in the group dies.
Well, we see everybody's process based off of what he's somewhat taught them, right? They've been able to process all of their issues, and Kevin Bacon's character have been able to provide this new information on top of something that Kiefer Sutherland has studied, or at least has started the experiment, right? And he's unwilling to. I feel like there could have been a little bit more med student drama. That
all right, I've got a pitch. I got a pitch for a new ending to this movie, and tell me what you guys think. So here's my 30 years later how I would end this movie. I wouldn't let any of them be absolved just yet. Instead of having them all find their way of being absolved through being caught or whatever, I would say that all of the 4 characters have to flatline a second time and face their demons, quite literally, head to head. And what it is that Kiefer is the only one that absolutely refuses to admit wrongdoing, and thus is the one that dies at the end. That Oliver Platt is there, reviving people as their body seems to give signs that they're absolved, and Kiefer just flat out refuses. You still get that scene where he's looking as an adult watching the kid in the tree, but he's taking the stance of, imagine if he said something along the lines of I was just a boy. Boys were just being boys, man. We were just playing around. It wasn't intent. That conceit of you can't blame a 12-year-old for what happens. I think that there's a little bit more cinematic. You know what I mean? You're what? It's like a ticking clock for the last 20 minutes as all 4 of them are under. Are they going to get out?
I also really like the idea of Oliver Platt just being surrounded by 4 bodies all flatlining at the same time.
Him being
for some reason
they have to go together. It's a group effort.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
Now at Chipotle, our all-new Chipotle Honey Chicken brings Chipotle heat with a touch of sweet. Seared smoked peppers and savory Mexican spices, blended with a hint of pure honey for a perfectly balanced sauce. All combined with fresh, tender chicken hot off the grill, served up in your favorite burrito or bowl. New Chipotle Honey Chicken takes heat and sweet to a whole new level. But it's only at Chipotle for a limited time. Order now in the app for pickup or delivery. Chipotle, for real.
Introducing the Internet Supreme Court,
a live stream show that casts judgment on anything the internet touches, from memes to billionaires.
We served Elon Musk with a court summons.
He still hasn't responded.
Because he's a coward.
Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
We're on Twitch and YouTube Live. Find out more at internetsupremecourt.com.
That's internetsupremecourt.com. We're also on Instagram and Blue Sky.
Hear that, Elon? Blue Sky.
Well, Scott, unless you have a lot more that you need to do on the plot summary.
No, I that's literally everybody gets their happy ending except for your bros at Horror Movie Night. They don't get their happy ending because no one dies.
Well, then, right. Scott, what would you double feature with this one?
You know, after watching a not horror movie for Horror Movie Night, I would just keep the not horror rolling with 1993's past future sequel prequel starring Kiefer Sutherland and Oliver Platt, the wonderful Three Musketeers.
Huh? Oh, nice. Wow.
Now, didn't Kyle just say a couple months ago that he fucking hates that version of the Musketeers and he would not finish it? I am so upset with you.
Yeah, okay.
Is it because of Chris O'Donnell? Because he sucks.
I don't think those were my words. I don't think. Well, they might have been. Somebody can go back and look at the tapes or listen to the tapes. But no, we 30-minute ruled it, which in the TK household means that we watched 30 minutes of it and we've decided we don't want to go any further. And it's not necessarily because it's a bad movie or that we're hating it or any of that. But I was bored, and so was Carly. So yeah, that is where we. I don't think it was. I just don't have any interest in that style of thing.
Well,
it's just very silly adventure stuff from the 90s, and I probably have a nostalgia for it anyway. That's the reason why it seems like fun.
And it's not. Hey, I've seen. It's not a bad movie, or I've heard that.
It's no Buttercream Gang, though.
Yeah. Nothing's a Buttercream Gang. Scott, you're going to be kicking yourself when I say this double feature because I'm going to pick another movie about a mad scientist that's trying to prove things about death and pop on Reanimator from 1985.
No, I mean, I understand, and I would love that, but I don't think that would be... I really am not in the mood to watch a horror movie if I just watch Flatliners, you know? Like, I'm not trying to save the night with horror. I'm literally trying to just
save the night.
Vibe.
You're trying to eagle-eye cherry that shit.
Oh, my God, man. Get out of here. What do you think this is? One Hit Thunder? On the Geekscape Network.
Did you guys know that Eagle Eye is his real first name?
Legally?
Yeah.
Legal Eye Cherry?
But Cherry is not his last name?
Cherry is, in fact, his last name. His sister was Nina Cherry, who had the hit Buffalo Stance in the late 80s, early 90s.
And that's
also,
just a little taste
her real name
here on One Hit Thunder.
Anyway, sorry.
Cherry.
No, that's great. That's good to know. That's good information.
Kyle. Nina Cherry, I don't even know her.
I have two. One, I both are great options in my opinion. One is Altered States, but I think that the one I actually want to watch, which is, I know I've said before, but the one I'm actually going to pick is Talk to Me. I think if I'm gonna get a little more horrific. I am gonna get a little more near death / into death, and it's gonna be the demonic possession that we all know and love in this moment. So I'm gonna go talk.
I really wanted to like that movie more than I did. So
yeah,
that's basically you watching this movie for me. So here we go.
I felt like Talk to Me was a absolute 3 out of 5 star movie.
Yeah.
Like
I'd give it 2.5. You know.
Yeah, didn't hate my watch. Didn't think it was like the greatest shit I've ever seen. But hey, guys, do you want to talk to us? Well, great news. We have a social media account. You can find us at HMM Podcast on any of your social media apps. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/HMN Podcast. You can email us at hmnpodcast@gmail.com. and join our newsletter. Or you can buy some merch by going to hmnpodcast.dashery.com or our website, hmnpodcast.com. Now, Scott, what is something you suggest or maybe don't suggest our listeners watch this week?
Well, so before we get into an absolute suggest, not suggest, I have 3 things that I want to talk about, and I promise that they make sense. So the first thing is kind of a little dovetail to Flatliners. I read this book called The Sleep Experiment. It was not good. I got it for like $3 at Half Price Books. But the reason I mention it is it was very funny to be reading it and finishing it the day. I read it over the course of 3 days or whatever. It's not long, but it was not good. And I was just forcing myself to finish it because I was like, this has to get better. It didn't. But I think his name's Jeremy Bates is the writer. And it's in this series of books that are kind of like real life horrors. So about the sleep experiment, urban legend, right? Where they keep people up for 2 weeks and then they start ripping their faces off and killing each other, blah, blah, blah. It's that, but in book form. And the funny thing about it is that it felt very Flatliners, where there's the doctor who's like, I have to do this thing for science, but he's a sex addict. And so it was kind of like taking Kiefer Sutherland and Billy Baldwin and making him one character, but also a murderer. And anyway, not a good book. Do not recommend. I also do not, and I cannot stress this enough, do not watch Ash from Flying Lotus. It is currently streaming on Shudder. It is an absolute pile of dog shit. It is basically like somebody asked ChatGPT to write them a slow burn, Dead Space-esque story with the Thing / Xenomorph as the big bad, but then have a little bit of psychedelic CGI in it. It's supposed to try and give this idea of cosmic horror, and that's what I was super stoked on, really ready for it, and everything about it was bad. And the first round of critics were like, oh, it's so good, you need to watch it, blah, 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 blah. They had to have paid them off. It's so bad. It's so bad. But what isn't bad is a movie that I watched directly after that, also on Shudder, Sea Fever, which is an Irish horror movie, aquatic horror movie, also kind of like a quarantine movie from 2020. I think that it was probably released in 2019 and then it hit streaming services in 2020 during the pandemic when we were all in lockdown, and I haven't watched it since. And I was like, I kind of remember liking it, and it's summertime when I didn't mention during our discussion that we should have picked Flatliners in October because it's a Halloween movie, but oh well. I'm probably the only person that gives a shit. But Sea Fever, don't get in the damn water. Stay out of the damn water. Yeah. It is a pretty fun movie.
No one ever learns, Scott. I've stopped even mentioning it.
Yeah, well, have you guys ever watched Sea Fever?
No, I'm looking it up.
I think you'd like it. It's low budget, but it also understands the edges of what it's able and capable of handling, and it does an amazing job. Highly recommend.
I'm going to give a very quick recommendation to a series of documentaries that are on Netflix right now called Trainwreck.
Is it Poop Cruise?
Yes, the Poop Cruise. There was the Mayor of Mayhem. They did one on Astroworld. There's a lot more coming out. We're recording this July 1st. I think this episode is going to come out mid-August.
Don't tell them that.
It's been I'm just saying, I haven't been able to vet all of these, but I'm looking at the July documentaries that are coming out, and at least 3 of them jump out at me as being really interesting. We've got The Real Project X. There's Balloon Boy is coming up.
Is the series called Trainwreck?
The series is called Trainwreck. So originally they did Trainwreck, Woodstock 99, and it was this 3-part documentary about what happened at Woodstock 99. And I guess because that documentary did so well, Netflix essentially threw money to those filmmakers to do a series of documentaries about other just absolute memorable fumbles in pop culture history, including the one I'm very excited for at the end of July, Storm Area 51, They All Can't Stop Us.
Oh my God.
So it's like just the poop cruise one so far is the top of the heap for sure. Introduced the phrase poop lasagna into my life, which I didn't know I needed. But I mean that thing is just 55 minutes of like, at what point would you have taken your life? Like you're just like watching
Holy
it,
shit.
and you're like,
when
this
would
is
you have
psychotic.
flatlined?
Yeah, for real. I mean, I already like don't ever want to be on a cruise, but like
no fucking way.
watching that just like further solidified, like, oh, this is a scenario. There's a scenario where the boat can lose power and the toilets stop flushing because of that. Like, that's horrific. And you might be just trapped at sea for like 3 weeks with no food to eat because the refrigeration devices stopped working. Like, that's insane. But yeah, so the train wreck documentaries, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that they're the best made documentaries in the world, but boy, are they entertaining. Bouncing over to you, Kyle. Take us home.
Yeah, I watched Brigsby Bear. Kyle Mooney's written, Dave McRae directed. It's from 2017. It has Greg Kinnear in it. Kyle Mooney plays the lead, and it's all about. I was talking to a friend of the show, Evan Fonseca, about it, and he was like,
Evan
basically
Fonseca?
the Evan Fonseca. He was basically like, it's Room with Kyle Mooney, and so Kyle Mooney plays a young man named Jacob, who lives at home with his parents, and he is sort of encapsulated, or like he's loves watching the show Brigsby Bear. And it's like a 80s, 90s educational TV show that is very Barney-esque, right? Turns out he was kidnapped, and his Mark Hamill and Jane Addams play his parents. Turns out that they are not his parents. They actually kidnapped him when he was a baby and have been living in like a bunker and feeding him Brigsby Bear and he has like online friends that he communicates with that are actually all, so he gets rescued from this captivity situation and then reunited with his actual family, and then has to live in the real world with all this knowledge and lack of Brigsby Bear and lack thereof knowledge of the real world. But he strikes up a friendship with the police captain who saves him, and with his biological sister's friends at a party, and he basically like and he's known as the kid who got saved, so like he's not, so he has this reputation, and then he basically convinces and learns how to finish Brigsby Bear's story arc. He wants to make a movie. He learns that you can make a movie, and it's all about the match. It's equal parts like really funny reality breaks, but also like it's not Kyle Mooney bombastic like SNL Kyle Mooney or I forget his comedy troupe, but like it's actually pretty heartfelt. It's all about like at the heart of it, sort of making movies with your friends. It's a little clunky. There's a couple like big jumps. But it's more heartwarming than anything. And I really enjoyed it. So that was Brigsby Bear. It's from 2017. I remember it coming out, and I didn't catch it or watch it, and then I ended up getting it at that FYE sale that I'm still powering through all those discs that I got for
what a tough
no
life you
real
got.
reason.
Yeah.
Other than the newsletter, which you can see what I pick up every month on the newsletter.
Well, and if you want to know about that, email us at hmnpodcast@gmail.com. But otherwise, we'll be back next week and every other week here on Horror Movie Night.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.